So, Joe.
Yes.
You're a smart man. You speak common sense. You know how to write a newspaper. You know how to write a headline. Okay?
Thank you. Can you put that in an email?
And I bet you can't even explain what the hell Albo's going to do when it comes to power.
The power bill,
is, in terms of the consumer, the most obvious thing is going to be, for some people, there's going to be a little bit of compensation, but it's not paid directly to them. It's via the state government, whether you have to apply for it or not, who knows. This is all, in my view, about, yes, trying to say you're doing something, but also trying to take away the one line of attack the opposition's got on them.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I think that the government is genuinely trying to do something about power prices because, if for no other reason than it's absolutely in its self-interest to do so. It's one Achilles heel, and you talked about the grocery prices. They're all being driven up by the high cost of power because it takes energy to produce, to transport, and to store virtually every single item you buy in your supermarket. So I think they are genuinely trying to do something. The question is, what do you do? And Judith Sloan has a point. When governments tell markets what to do, it almost always ends badly, and it should only ever be done in exceptional circumstances. I think these are exceptional circumstances, so clearly something has to be done. Therefore, what? Well, the blunt instrument is, of course, the cap on coal and gas sale prices to domestic generators. Right now, there are issues around that because some domestic generators already have their contracts locked in with coal and gas providers.
It's meaningless.
Therefore, it's completely meaningless. However, there are other generators who have not purchased enough forward contracts because they thought, and this is the thing that's going to make people's heads spins, that they would be getting more renewable energy than they actually got. As it turns out, it wasn't quite as windy and a bit more overcast than we thought it was going to be. So it's not actually too much renewables, an over-reliance on renewables that's hurting it. It's that not enough renewables actually happened to come in. They therefore had to go and buy coal at the spot price. And surprise, surprise, the price is through the roof, and they're paying more. Now, clearly, for that particular scenario, a cap on coal prices is going to work. Whether or not that has flow-on effects, unintended consequences, like people saying, well, we're not going to explore enough, we're not going to dig up as much coal because we can't get as much money for it, that's another question. And I certainly think that there has to be a fast-tracking of the Narrabri gas project in New South Wales and an end to Victoria's gas moratorium. There you go, solved it for you.
Well played. But again, Chris, the bit that's always missing out of this, you've been on it for many a year. We've been talking about it together for about 10 years on the telly, which is about the cost of transition. All right, the idea that the CSIRO 2018 said it was going to cost $1 trillion to achieve the completely renewable, electrified, everything is awesome, right? Let's imagine that was half true. Well, that's what, $500 billion? This, again, is not easy money. This is huge money, and it has to be paid for by someone somewhere. But let's speak to sort of the no BS around all of this, right? Let's not have the fight they want us to have. Geez, isn't it convenient that the household may save $280, magically $5 within that $275 number that apparently wasn't going to kick in until 2025?
Yeah, what a disgrace this compensation package is. As you say, the figure is very, very convenient. We're supposed to be $275 cheaper already. It's become more than that on the upside and further to go. And they're looking at this sort of package that on average will shade that $275. I think the really cynical thing that Labor are going to do here is that we'll be talking about that gas price cap. Now, they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't need to be doing that. That is an economically unsound way to treat this, as you've mentioned and Judith Sloan has outlined. But they're putting that in the same bill as the compensation package. The compensation package has got nothing to do with the gas price cap. It should be absolutely a separate piece of legislation because everybody can see that pensioners and people on fixed incomes are being slammed by high electricity prices, and they probably need some compensation because of the terrible way our politicians have run energy policy. They should have that bill separate so that the coalition and others can vote for that compensation to help people get through the next year. The issue of the price cap on gas should be dealt with in another piece of legislation and dealt with on its merits. But getting back to the big picture and what Joe courageously tried to explain away all these different intricacies, what's unfolding here is the utter absurdity, the implausibility, in fact, the impossibility of this country being able to do what it signed up to do and what Joe and most of the commentariat has agreed it can do, and that is deliver net zero emissions by 2050. It cannot be done on existing technology. The International Energy Agency has made that clear, and to try and pretend we can do this on renewables and storage is an absolute fallacy. We're paying the price for that. So you're talking now about a government looking to cap the price on gas and coal. The price is going through the roof for these two resources because so many people want them and need them. And these are exactly the same two resources that the Labor Party's policies and most of the coalition policies previously have been trying to drive out of business. Imagine the absurdity of that. We try to drive them out of business, and then we wonder why they get expensive, and now we want them to cap their prices.
Yeah.
It's an absolute exercise in national self-harm.